So welcome back to Straight Talk. Before the break, we were talking about the casino issue again, and we're going to continue with that for a little while because I didn't really get a word in.
The worst thing to do is to get on the show, sit with me or Ross, and talk about that casino.
It's just like going back and forth. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the fact that you had mentioned that you think it's like a waste of money and stuff like that, and you think it's going to happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I'm kind of in denial about that, or I'm not sure whether, like, I think the MCK will go to a referendum, and I think if they don't, then it's just, going to bite them, and it's not going to be good. But the fact, like, going back to their presentation, the meeting that they had, they presented the last two reports that the innovation group had researched, and I guess that's where, like, people think it's like a waste of money. But for me, I think it's a way to get more information, because, like, I wasn't paying attention to the casino issue the last 2 times. Mm-hmm. And
you're more interested, I think, at that point with Rubik's cubes and your coloring books. Because this has been going on for years. No offense,
It was more Barbies, but
yeah. Well, there you go, Barbie. But yeah, I understand.
I guess, like, some of the information that was presented in terms of, like, the social impact study that people have been concerned about, like, they focused on 2 problems, like, that's crime and then problem gambling. Mm-hmm. And the research group looked over studies, and there was no thing that was a direct correlation between once you have a casino that there's more increased crime. In fact, they actually had found that in many cases the crime rates dropped. And then another thing with the problem gambling, they said that Kahnawake has had problems with gambling well before there was even a casino in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And they said that you're completely exposed to that problem if you live within 1 hour drive of a casino.
Okay.
And so they concluded that if there was a casino in Kahnawake, there wouldn't be, I guess, more problem gambling than there already is.
There wouldn't be a significant change. Is
and then another thing that they had said was that they would be proactive in having, like, a kind of like a facility to deal with problem gambling in Kahnawake. Mm-hmm. Which you laugh, but I don't know. Like, it's one of these things that I think people have concerns about, and then they're addressing them. So
I think in any case, with all the findings, I mean, okay, I'll ask you, pop quiz. Where are they going to be putting the potential casino? Do you know where it's supposed to be?
Well, according to the last study that was done before Christmas, they had they based their study off of the one that, like, by Highway 30.
Right.
But before that, they had also said that another possible site was in the
132.
Yeah, like by the Seaway, where there's like.
You already have people who are looking at the piece near Highway 30, and you already have people who are already trying to negotiate space in terms of for tourism, for gas stations, and people are already trying to get there, and it's already been it's already public knowledge to the point where they've asked people. They said, would you want to be involved in there? And the council basically is saying, this is our deal. This is what we're going to do. To me, that shows that, number one, it's going to happen. Number two, I mean, look at all the other failed ventures that the council has had. I mean, they had that airport hangar repair shop back in the Norton days. In Rome, New York. I mean, there's the Feast in the Forest, the whole tourism aspect was an absolute dismal failure. I mean, I mean, and they keep jumping to this because they're like, I don't know what else to do. I mean, to me, that's what I mean, and whether, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have an opinion on terms of the casino, whether if I want it or not, because it doesn't matter. Because I could stand here saying, I don't want the casino, or I could say, I do want the casino. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, is there going to be a community referendum? I don't think so. Do I think that they're going to have any consultation based off I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I'm just my opinion. I'm sorry. Do I think they're going to have community consultation that's going to have an impact on the yes or no vote? I don't think so. I think this is just saying this is what we're doing.
But even if that's the case, then since there's so many people who feel the same way as you do, I think that this research doesn't end up being like a waste of money, because it's actually informing the community what may happen.
All the research that they're doing now, like I said, they're just changing dates. We've been researched out, believe me. I can tell you firsthand that we've been researched out. On the last thought before we move on the casino issue, and I keep saying it only because I want this community to ask these questions and to think about what's going to happen. What kind of negotiations are being done with Quebec in order to get this done? What are we going to give up?
That's key.
What are we giving up?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the biggest thing, and I keep saying it, that the 10 agreements had put this community in a bad situation as it is now. They're saying that it's been helping, it brought more dollars in, but as a community, we're losing. And I think that we may lose only if the government decides to say, yes, we can have it. If the government doesn't say yes and we decide to do that anyway, what they're doing is they're putting all the men, women, and children in this community in a position to end up having to defend our rights again and defend our territory from outside governments because of it. And
That's the key issue.
And I'm not willing to do that.
That is a key issue, and I think at the end of the day, that's where the focus point is going to have to be. Have to be put out wholeheartedly.
It'd be hell and high water if council starts breaking ground and SQ and RCMP come in here and say that you're not doing it. That I'm going to go and stand and defend the Mohawk Council from it. I'm just gonna sit back and watch and say I told you so, because I'm not willing to put that like me or my family in that position because it's not well thought out, and people are just looking at that dollar at the end of the day. It's what you're giving up. The 10 agreements did the same thing. Hey, mind you, they weren't all bad. They brought in a lot of jobs into the community, but I don't know. I don't know what the write-off at the end of the day is, and that's what scares me.
Anyway, this issue isn't gonna die anytime soon.
No, not at all.
But and I guess in some less political news, the Cultural Center had announced that throughout the month of April, they're going to make the first annual Cultural Awareness Month. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's very good. That's very good news.
And they had just put a call out if any organizations or people had suggestions for events that they should call KOR to.
So like anything, language events, how to incorporate it within the workplace. Yeah, it sounds fun. It sounds to be a lot of great. Yeah,
that's a positive thing to look at for the community. And the last thing I think that we have before we wrap up is the fundraiser that's coming up.
Yes, the fundraiser that's taking place here in the community. A lot of people have gone to different stores, some of the social clubs in the community, and have seen these jars for baby Trace. And there's a need beyond anything there, Ganawagirdono, for this baby who needs a heart transplant. And the action right now is to get that done. And what I'm seeing right now is exactly that. You're seeing people getting change together, money, and it doesn't stop here. There's going to be a fundraising breakfast too, if I'm not mistaken.
On Sunday, February 12th, from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus. So, go eat some breakfast for a good cause.
That's right.
This story is literally it's so heartbreaking to such a little baby has.
It's always tough when there's a lot of adults that have heart problems and stuff like that in this community, but when it's a child like that, and then you want to support the family, we seem to get together to do that, and that's what we should be doing.
For those that don't know, it's Chris Bova and Kristen White's 1-year-old son Trace, who has he suffers from aortic stenosis.
Okay.
And that's why he's on the transplant. Like,
So they're waiting for a transplant, and everybody's, keeping their fingers crossed. If you have, especially if you have a small child, and you never want to be in that situation. You want, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that something has to happen tragic in order for something to happen good. In order to get a transplant, something else has to tragically happen, or you know what I mean. Somebody else has to.
With one life,
one life,
one has to to extinguish. Yeah, of course. But what we here in the community are on the most. What we're trying to do on the most positive side of things is we know that, we realize that we have people who in the community who have on the traditional aspect have burned tobacco, knowing the aspects of both sides of this. You have people who send their prayers. You have people who are just hoping. There's an interesting scenario happened over at the Moose Lodge this weekend where I was, and very interesting how rough and tough Ganawagardonum guys are sitting there. And I say this because they were cursing and all these things, and you wouldn't want them to be, cursing in your house or running amok or whatever. As soon as they mentioned about the story, you saw the compassion. You saw what the fabric of Ganawagardonum are. We are very concerned about our children. We are very concerned about other people. That's what we do. When people ask for compassion, we're
So
right
if you
on
see
that.
any jars and stuff like that, or they're selling tickets, just buy one. It's to support the family. I'm sure that the baby's in and out of the hospital, and the family has to be there 24 hours a day with this child, and it's it's something that that we should be supporting anyway. Go to the meal.
At the Knights of Columbus.
At the Knights of Columbus, and we're going to wrap up the show. We just have that that one question again
Yep,
that we'd like to ask, and
don't forget to take our online poll, which is, do you agree with Donna Lahash being let go as the Director of Education at the Ganawagé Education Center? So go to www.mohawktv.ca to vote.
And if you have any questions or comments surrounding this show or any of our show, you can email us at mohawktv@hotmail.com or call us at 450-632-NEWS, 450-632-6397. Nyawa, and Onigiwahi.
Anna.
Kanya ke haga thadi adaraste kayerniga hiadu zewaderoru.